Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Oceania gameplay video versus the Automa. Here's our starting hand. Taking a look at what we have. I like the Emu, the Peaceful Dove, and the Crested Pigeon, I believe. The Emu lets me gain seed so I can play those other two birds. We'll discard bird counter. We don't have any tuck birds, and we'll keep large bird specialist for the bonus card. I do like the Budgergar and Pukeko in the display tray, but I think I'd take a chance here that the Automa doesn't take them. And we play the Emu that says gain all seeds that are in the bird feeder, keep half rounded up, and then choose how to distribute the others. The Automa does reset the tray, so I don't get to grab those other two birds I wanted. So we're just sticking with the Emu and hope it comes through. Emu can go in any habitat. Hoping the Emu pays off. We haven't really played much Oceania, especially the Emu, so we will see. Good, bad, or ugly. I elect to draw cards here. We take the Black Nudie and I think a type of cuckoo bird. I'll zoom in here in a second. The Automa has the Falconer bonus card. And trying to just see what the Major Mitchell's Cockatoo does. The Automa does take another card from the deck since there wasn't a Falconer bird in the tray. And we are playing on the hardest difficulty for Automa, so they get 5 points every time they get a face down card. I like to draw cards again. I get the Major Mitchell's Cockatoo and the Silver Eye. And the Australian Ibis pops up, which is the only card I believe that lets you look at the discard pile. Just because I'm not playing digitally, you know, manipulating the discard pile I feel like might be a little lengthy just to record. So we pass on the Australian Ibis. I've got a couple birds in my hand that I want to play, so we're just being lazy and we're gonna stick with what we got. I elect to gain food right there, and the Automa takes another 5 points, face down card. So we are now playing the Silver Eye, which can go in any habitat. All players gain 1 nectar from the supply. And we elect to put it in the grassland, hoping we can lay eggs and get food at the same time. We are playing the Automa Horde variant. So if we share resources, the Automa is going to be getting Horde tokens, which is basically just food tokens that will be divided by 3 at the end of the game, and for each 3 Horde tokens they get an egg. So sharing today with the Automa is going to be troublesome. Horsefield's Bronze Cuckoo, it's a pink power that when another player takes a lay eggs action, you can lay 1 egg on a bird less than 30 centimeters. With the Automa I like to play at least 1 pink power, hoping it will pay off. And we only have, what, 1 last turn, I think, for round 1. End of round goal is brown powers, and we have 1 seed remaining. We could play a couple birds in our hand at this point, but I like what I saw on the tray, and I wanted to pick up those guys a little bit more than I wanted to shoot for that end around goal. The Emu was successful. We did grab a seed there, so that was helpful. And then the Automa does do some bird feeder manipulation, but no pink powers activated. Since we are playing on the hardest difficulty for Oceania, they start with 5 nectar in each habitat. And at the end of the round, you adjust the nectar values in each habitat for the Automa. We tie the end of round, we shuffle the deck, and we're already in round 2. With the Automa, you always go first in each round. And obviously I have our hand face up to see what we can do. I think I elected to grab food the last turn. I wasn't paying attention, but The Automa does do some bird feeder stuff, and we get to activate the pink power. So, get to lay an egg on the Silvereye, and here we are laying eggs again to grab another nectar. I think I have my eyes on that black nudie. It's a 9-point bird. And the Automa does bird feeder pink power again, which is good for us. Anytime the Automa's not scoring points, that's a good turn. Here's the black nudie. Reset the bird feeder and gain all fish. If there are any, you may discard any of these fish to tuck that mini from the deck instead. So trying to get some tucks with the nudie, and we go back to back with the Major Mitchell's Cockatoo. Tuck one from your hand behind this bird. If you do, all players gain a seed from the supply. So that's another sharing bird, but it is another way to gain food in the grassland. I am noticing with Oceania, there's a lot more ways to gain food in the grassland and the wetlands, but a lot of those birds share. I feel like there's a lot of sharing birds in the Oceania deck, so that might be something to get used to in the future. We are drawing cards here. We get a New Holland Honeyeater and the Laughing Kookaburra. The black nudie does get some fish, and our emu was successful as well. The emu has not failed us, gaining seeds from the bird feeder. And the Automa lays eggs and adds an action cube to their end of round goal. Laughing Kookaburra is next. Reset the bird feeder. If you do, gain one worm, fish, or rat if there is one. Thought we had pretty good chances to gain a food with the Laughing Kookaburra. It goes in any habitat. That might be a bird you see played pretty often since it's cheap to play. And even though we have 5 cards on our hand, none of those birds are extremely powerful. We do end the round with the Crested Pigeon. Cash up to 8 seeds from your supply on this bird. So we'll hope with this emu and this Major Mitchell's Cockatoo that we'll be able to have some extra seeds by the end of the game. And here we are with the black nudie and the Laughing Kookaburra. Our end of round goal is rats and fish and food cost of birds played, and we do win that end of round. Already have 7 cards on the board, halfway through the game pretty much, and we're resetting the tray, taking a look. The cockatiel is interesting. I'm definitely thinking about that one. However, it looks like I'm going to lay eggs here. I've said this in my other video, but if you get to that 4th slot on the Oceania board, you can still lay up to 4 eggs without, paying for 2 more birds. So that's a very helpful slot, I feel like. And the Major Mitchell's Cockatoo lets us tuck one. We are sharing, we are gaining seeds. The Automa's getting horde tokens, so that may come back to bite us. And for each nectar we share with the Silvereye, the Automa gets 2 horde tokens. So there's definitely a give and take right there. The Automa round 3 does bird feeder, and we get to do our pink power. And we are going to draw cards here because we just don't have much else to do. I think we neglect the cockatiel. I didn't draw anything crazy. I think our highest point bird we drew was 5 points. Hoping this black nudie. Check it out, 3 fish in the bird feeder for the black nudie. I think we take one of those fish and we discard the other 2 fish to tuck 2 cards behind the black nudie. Probably with Kookaburra, nudie, and emu. I mean, those are 3 wetland birds that can gain food. So I might, in hindsight, could have just kept going with the wetlands, drawing birds and playing them. Because none of those birds have failed me much so far in this game. The Automa grabs a predator from the tray and adds an action cube to the round 3 goal. And we see the red-winged parrot in the tray, which isn't a bad bird either. We're still drawing cards. I get the Blyce Hornbill. I think that's a decent card for us. And I'm not super concerned about having extra cards because, like I said, that grassland lets me discard extra cards for eggs. In the original game, you have to discard extra food. But here we can discard eggs or food. And it looks like the Kookaburra was successful. We get a rat. The Nudie was not successful, so that's unfortunate, but the Emu does come through and we gain another seed. Brown Falcon gets replaced in the tray, and the Automa gets to pick up that Predator since they have the Falconer bonus card. And I'm taking a look at this new bird popping up, the Australian Magpie. Has a yellow power that looks interesting. We're trying to play birds we don't see very often, at least when we're playing. So trying to do some different different birds from the other Oceania game I uploaded. If you haven't seen that, you might want to check it out afterwards. It is pretty interesting. We pick up a Kia and that Magpie. The Kookaburra continues to be successful. It's one of my favorite birds in the Oceania expansion. Plus, they sound extremely cool in nature. And the Black Nudie, we get to tuck 1, I believe. And the Emu, still grabbing seeds for that Crested Pigeon later in the game. But if you take a look at that Automa card to the right, they are collecting quite a few eggs. They got 3 eggs last time. And then, of course, the Horde tokens. We only have about 2 turns left in round 3. We play the Australian Magpie, discard 1 egg from each bird in this row and column that has an egg on it, excluding this bird. For each discarded egg, cash 2 seeds from the supply on this bird. So we're hoping that pays off. I think that'll give us another 6 caches with the Magpie. But you do discard eggs to get those caches, so it's a little bit of a trade-off there. And the Automa grabbed another 5 points and added an action cube. Here's the Kia. We draw 1 bonus card. You may discard any number of food to draw that many additional bonus cards. Keep 1 of the cards you drew and discard the rest. So we draw a Cartographer, and we don't really qualify for any of that, so we elect to discard 1 food and take a chance for 1 more bonus card, and we get Viticulturist, which we do qualify for. I think we get 3 points because we have 2 birds that eat berries. And that's the end of the round. That key is pretty interesting. You have to discard all the food up front before you draw those additional bonus cards, so it's a little bit of a chance. But we had the extra food to do so. And we win the end of round goal, food cost of played birds. The Automa gets second, obviously. And here we go, round 4. The game is sped up and going by quickly. A little penguin in the tray. We've played that bird before. A shrike thrush. And it looks like a lark. However, as far as points go, I think we're going to continue laying eggs and maybe play that Blyce Hornbill eventually. We get to tuck 1 behind the Cockatoo, gain those seeds, and the Silver Eye. We do continue getting nectar because we don't have any berries for this Blyce Hornbill. And the Automa gets 3 eggs and another action cube. Not feeling extremely confident if we are winning against this Automa. Every round, it just seems like the Automa's actions are scoring more and more points, especially on the hardest difficulty. And I don't think we're going to win much of this nectar battle. Here we are again, laying eggs. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-point engine. But by the time you share the horde tokens, it's only like a 4-point engine. So not ideal here. Probably not taking as much time as we need to calculate. But I don't really want to keep drawing cards in hopes of something better. The, what's that? Some type of eagle, it looks like, at the top there. We are still laying eggs, trying to score some points on the board. And we're using all those extra cards that we had to lay those extra eggs. And that's probably the last time I share nectar with the Silver Eye, because I am trying to play this Blyce Hornbill. Let's see, the Automa gets another 5 points with the hardest difficulty and another action cube to the end of round goal. We have 2 turns left, and we finally play the Blyce Hornbill. Its power says, discard all eggs from one of your birds with a cavity nest. Tuck twice that many cards from the deck behind this bird. So we discard the eggs from the Laughing Kookaburra and add 6 tucked cards. That turns into a 13-point card. 12 points when you subtract the egg. But only, I think, 9 points since you're subtracting the Kookaburra eggs. Anyway, here we are, last turn. We're going to lay our eggs on the grassland birds for this Australian magpie. And kind of is what it is at this point. I think it is a high-scoring game. I think we've reached triple digits. And we won the forest nectar battle. And the Automa doesn't get to tuck anything, so we have more tucks. We have bonus points. The Automa doesn't get bonus points, but they have a ton of bird points, victory points. So I think it's going to be close, but I'm not 100% confident. We're just calculating the end of round goal here. We get second for eggs in the ground nest. And that's the end of the game. We're going to settle our yellow powers. The Crested Pigeon, we only had 4 extra seeds. And then the Australian Magpie, we discard the 3 eggs for 6 cached seeds. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the score. You can see the Automa had 72 bird points to our 45. That's crazy. Bonus points, we had 9. We won the end around goals, but the Automa had 20 eggs with all those horde tokens. We get tent and food cached, the tucks with the nudie and the hornbill and the Major Mitchell's cockatoo, and we lose the nectar battle. We lose the game 115 to 118. We still had fun, and I hope you enjoyed seeing these Oceania birds. Feel free to subscribe for more gameplay. See ya!